What a morning. Wow. In literally 30 minutes of market action today, I locked in $13,000 plus in trading profits. This guy Mark was like, for a lot of people, that's a year's salary for one of their jobs. I know some of you guys have multiple jobs and you're working these jobs where, you're trying so hard to pay your rent and your bills and, your responsibilities. And I get it, but the jobs that you're taking, the stuff that you're literally wasting your life on is never going to make you rich. You're always in the rat race. You're always behind because the stuff that you're focusing on is not scalable. If you're doing manual labor, like you always have to do it. And when you get old, you can't even do it anymore. So instead, try to focus on learning skills that are scalable. And granted, I trade penny stocks. It's the least scalable of any strategy on all of Wall Street. The bad news is that you'll never make tens or hundreds of millions or billions of dollars with my strategy. There are a few traders who have made, 20 million, but the vast majority of you, best case scenario is you're only going to make a few million. The good news is if you're only going to make a few million, that's more than enough to live and survive and live very well on. And you'll have days where you can make literally 5,000, 10,000, 13,000, 50,000, 100,000 once you get a bigger account. And so it is scalable to a point where it's scalable enough for every single person watching this. And I made a video lesson yesterday talking about how I know a few rich people and they are so weird. You don't want to make $100 million or $1 billion. To do that, you have to lose your mind. You have to lose your social skills. You have to lose your life. You have to be a slave. It's not worth it. Trust me, I've been all over the world, 107 countries now plus, and this kind of money is life-changing. So let me explain how I did it. Here were the two trades, WLKR and AXIM. It wasn't as easy as all 30 minutes work. Okay, the 30 minutes of work, sure, that's when I was actually making the trades, but the way that I've made this kind of money is preparation. And you don't see the preparation. Some of you guys do. Well, frankly, everybody who reads my watch list does, but most of you don't realize that you have to be prepared ahead of time. So let me talk about my $2,000 gain first, and I'll get to my $11,000 gain in a little bit. Because they're two different skill sets. This $11,000 profit was actually in my long-term newsletter. Some of you guys don't realize this. I have a long-term newsletter too. And frankly, it's a different skill. It's a different strategy with different rules, but just paid off hugely on WLKR. But first, let's talk about this $2,300 profit. This was my watch list that I sent out last night. And I also made a video lesson yesterday talking about AXIM and how AXIM, let me just show you here, how AXIM does these morning panics. And, on Friday it did a morning panic. I made 1,400. Today it did a morning panic. It didn't bounce as nicely today. So I actually played it a little safer, even though my schedule is clear, because it just wasn't bouncing the right way. I was buying it in the mid-10s and selling it in the low 11s, but it didn't really look like it could bounce that much more. And now, again, it's down to 1050, 1080. So I'd still be up a little bit right now, but not as much as when I took profits. You have to learn to take profits in this game. So let me just show you my watch list, just so you can understand that this stuff, a lot of the time, is predicted ahead of time. AXIM, I specifically said AXIM was the only one I played Friday, buying into the $6 a share morning panic, and given that it's just the first down day, I'm hopeful for another morning panic tomorrow. Ideally down to where there's tons of support in the $10 to $11 a share range. Buying morning panics near support has worked so well the past few weeks. That's all you need to know. So I had the specific plan, and granted, the stock was not at 10 to 11. So some people messaged me, they're like, how do you know it's going to go down to 10 to 11? I didn't know. You have no idea what it's going to do. I was hopeful that it would, and if it did, then I was ready. That is the key, okay? Stop trying to predict things. Start trying to react to things. Tim Grittani, my top student, who has now taken 1,500 into nearly 4 million in 5 years, he gave one of his live webinars to challenge students last week. And, he talked a lot about his plays. He made $8,000 live on the webinar. He outlined how he made $920,000 in profits last year. But most importantly, or for me at least, I caught, only a partial part of it. But for me, one of his comments stuck out where he said he's not predictive, he's reactive. And a lot of you guys think that getting rich in the stock market is when you're able to predict things. Granted, I predicted the morning panic, but forget about that. Focus on if there was a morning panic, I knew what to do because I was prepared. Okay? We've seen this pattern time and time again. I have over a dozen video lessons on it just in the past few months. And when there's a morning panic, I was ready to strike. And granted, this bounce wasn't even that great. Frankly, I'm a little fortunate that I had such a huge profit on WLKR. And so my mindset is in the one of being conservative. Like when you make 13,000 in 30 minutes, you don't get greedy. You don't say, oh, I need to make 20,000. You lock it in. You have to keep things in perspective. All last week I made 13,000 roughly, and that was a damn good week. Now I'm doing it in 30 minutes. So if you make 13,000 in a week and then you have the opportunity to make 13,000 in 30 minutes, you take it. And also the play wasn't doing that great. So AXIM, I got a little bit bigger a position than I alerted. When I'm alerting, things are happening so fast, it's kind of tough to get the exact numbers. But you got the gist of it, and this was basically my trade, buying it at around 10.50, selling it in the low 11s. When I sent out the alert, it was actually at 11.27, but I was done. I had made my profit. It didn't really look like it could bounce that much more, and so I played it safe. And, again, here it is, 10.50 by 10.70. There is support here. How do I know there's support? Because this is where it pays to look back at the chart. Remember, I am a glorified history teacher. So all I am doing is looking at history. And a lot of you guys don't do that. So how did I know there was going to be support here in the 10s? Because right here, there's tons of support going back just a few days with a big run-up. I actually thought there would be better support here at 10.30, 10.50. I guess it's bouncing now, 10.70, 10.80. It's tough to lose money, when you're buying a stock that's down from the 14s. Let me just show you this chart on this morning panic, and now there's tons of support here, going back to support here at around 10.50, and that's why I bought. And there was multiple times to buy, and you could have made a little bit, but I took the meat of the move. That's the best thing. Now let's talk about WLKR, because WLKR, totally different chart. I don't want you guys getting confused. There's very different disciplines here, where this one was downtrending. I would never buy this for a short-term gain. Never, ever, ever. This is not a good chart to trade for the short term. Let me pull up the Bloomberg article. Hold on. This was the commentary I sent pre-market to my long-term people. And I was like, congratulations. Here is the Bloomberg news. Priceline founder raises $50 million for new venture. And in case you don't know WLKR, I've been long this stock for literally nearly a year. I actually had to take a small loss on it in the end of December for tax losses. So I lost roughly $2,000 last year. But now, because I was on the right track with a long-term play, I got back in and, I just got a tweet. Hold on. I just got a tweet. Literally, this just happened this second ago. 12 seconds ago. Stephen Ducks. Nice. And I got this during a live video lesson. That is pretty sweet. Stephen Ducks is my newest $700,000 profit student, and he's been having problems, quote, problems, making, $5,000 in a day. He could never get past it. And now he's joking right here, but he just made, $6,500. And he's trading a bunch of stocks. His big winner looks like was on BNTC. I haven't even had time to look at BNTC. I've been too focused on these other plays. But this is not a good long-term chart to buy. The reason why I bought it was because you have multiple founders from Priceline involved in this. They've been getting ready for a new travel company called Upside Travel. WLKR owns only roughly 11% of this new company, but now that this new company was literally valued at 200 million, WLKR's 11% stake is worth 22 million. WLKR also has 7 million in cash, and the market cap was only $7 million. So I was buying it here the past few days, and a lot of people who are, really proficient in my short-term strategy are like, Tim, why are you buying this stock? This is not a good chart to buy. It's a terrible chart to buy for the short term. But when you have a big fundamental catalyst, and I didn't know, that they were going to raise money. I don't know what their valuation is going to be. What I do know is that they're launching this travel business with multiple Priceline founders sometime in the first quarter of 2017. And they've delayed it a few times. But the reason why I was buying back in is because, first of all, this is a January effect play. And I know this because I was one of those tax loss sellers. I was buying this pretty much all of last year. I was adding to it and lessening my position. And after everything, there were like 20 different transactions over the course of the year. And it was very frustrating because they kept delaying their travel website. And I ended up taking a roughly $2,000 loss. And I wasn't happy about it. But again, at the end of the year, I'm going to take my tax loss just like you should. And I could buy right back in. So I did that. And frankly, I'm very fortunate that I went back in. I would have been really angry if I had, sold it and been so close and then finally get the news and then not, be there. So that's my long-term strategy, and it is totally different. So please don't get confused. This is why I have a separate newsletter, because I don't want, the picks overlapping. You're going to learn very different patterns, very different rules, and be very confused. But this one was a patience paid off, and this Bloomberg article came out. They still didn't even link WLKR. Most people don't realize that, you can actually invest in Upside.com. Even though it's not a pure play, WLKR owns 11% of it. And anyways, with this $200 million valuation, with WLKR being, worth just $7 million and having $7 million in cash, so basically it's, you're getting this whole travel company for free. Now you're getting huge volume already today, and people are beginning to realize it. That said, you still have to lock in profits. You can never just congratulate yourself like, oh, pat on the back, Tim, you predicted this. Again, I might have been prepared, but I can't predict what the stock price is going to do. And I don't know what it's going to do. I was very happy to see it up pre-market around 50, 55 cents a share, but still no press release. Maybe the press release will come later today or after hours or something. But, this is the biggest volume. I think this is the biggest volume I've ever seen. And the market's only been open for an hour. Yeah, this is the biggest. Ever since I'm buying, this is the biggest volume day ever. And it's only 500,000 shares, so it's not very much. But it's a good start. So part of what I want to teach you is to sell into strength. And I specifically told this. I had too many things open. Where is it? Hold on, let me find this. Let me pause this. Here it was pre-market. So again, this is preparation. So I was right about the travel company being valued highly. But then you have to know, what are you going to do when the news comes out? And I have several video lessons with my long-term newsletter. And in these video lessons, I specifically said, why I'm preparing for year end, the two best stocks for the long term, the stocks for the long term. If you watch these video lessons, there were literally 4 video lessons in the past 2 months that was specifically saying, I believe that there's going to be a big catalyst for WLKR eventually. I don't know exactly when. I don't know what the catalyst is going to be. I don't know how people are going to react to the catalyst. But if and when that happens, I think this will spike big, 50, 75, 100%. So we got the 50% spike this morning, right into here from 33 up to 55. Now it's actually retraced quite a bit because, frankly, people are disappointed. There's no press release. That's not a surprise. But there still was the 50% pop out of the blue with the news, and there was a chance to sell, and I actually sold it really well for once, mainly just because I have the right mindset with this stock. This stock has disappointed me so much in the past. I wasn't going to give it that much, of a leash. It was going to be a very tight leash. And also, the stock had a big wall of sellers on level 2. I should have recorded it live. I was a little too excited with this trade in AXIM. But there was a big wall of sellers on level 2 around 55 and 54 cents, not coincidentally the top of the recent range. So when you can get in and you make literally 50% on your money, let me just show you one sec. These are some of my trades on WLKR. I actually have a separate E-Trade account. I have an IRA account because my long-term newsletter is longs only, so I need another account. I had a E-Trade IRA account, and, I've been buying this, at 35 and 30 cents. I actually kind of was pissed at myself that I got so greedy buying it here at 35. I should have waited for some more. And then I was adding, at 33 and 30. And anyways, today I was out, in the 53 range. And I could not have traded this any better. $11,000. Forget about the meat of the move. I took the whole move. And now it's coming down a little bit, so I'm very glad. AXIM, actually, the bounce is failing. So it's back down to 1020. Excuse me. So I'm out of that. TBIO is down a little bit. Didn't get the real panic that I really wanted on, TBIO. And when that happens, I'm just not going to trade it. So unless you give me exactly what I want, I don't need to trade that stock. That's the cool thing. So if you want to make plays like this with $13,000, you have to prepare ahead of time. AXIM was a pattern play. I was prepared ahead of time, specifically with the dip buy and the morning panic. WLKR, I've been prepared too far ahead of time. But eventually it paid off and it wiped out my earlier losses. And I feel really good about this now. And I might rebuy WLKR, if it ever breaks past the 50, 55 cent resistance range, or people start noticing it. The closest comparison you can make is MGTI, which went from like 40 cents to $5 when industry legend John McAfee was going to say, this is going to be the next big cybersecurity company. And everyone's like, well, his last cybersecurity company was McAfee Software, even though he actually sold his name and he sold his company long before it was worth billions. So WLKR, I think, is actually better than MGTI with the sense that they have multiple Priceline founders and, Jay Walker, the man himself who actually invented Priceline. And it's kind of a cool concept where, like, you're trying to book a hotel or book something and it gives you other offers, like, nearby. Like, would you choose this other hotel nearby and save, get $50 in gift cards? So it's kind of a different take. I don't know if it'll actually play out, but the point is that you have this undervalued penny stock that, frankly, is trading at cash levels. The travel company is not even included at all. So it's a very fundamentally safe investment. The only question is, will people recognize it? You do need the news catalyst. Today we got it, so I made 11,000. AXIM, we got the dip buy, morning panic pattern. I took it. And that's how it adds up, guys. I'm now up 4.554 roughly $1 million. And it's all preparation. So it's not luck. It's not fraud. It's strategy. And this stuff is all documented. I love timestamping everything. Some people will say, you didn't know about AXIM last night. Oh, really? Well, then look at my watch list. I even made a video lesson yesterday. And in yesterday's video lesson, I said 10 to 11 was support. So it was the exact same kind of dip buy as always. And frankly, I got a little bit lucky on this one today just because I would have had more patience and my profits would have gone down if I had not had such a big gain on WLKR. So sometimes you get a little lucky. A little luck never hurt. But having the right mindset really helps. So if you like this video lesson, leave a comment with the word mindset, MINDSET, because that's what it's all about. If you truly want to be my next millionaire student, you need to prepare ahead of time. To prepare ahead of time takes a lot of work and frustration and annoyance, because I know many of you just want hot stock picks. But if you have the right mindset, then guess what? You are prepared ahead of time. You enjoy preparing ahead of time. You enjoy learning the game, whether you're focused on short-term trades or long-term trades. Even now, I would still be up like 7 grand on WLKR. So you don't always have to be like perfectly dead on with your schedule with my long-term newsletter. That's kind of the benefit of this. I could still be holding this, and I'd be up, well, roughly like six or 7 grand. So I'd still be having a nice, 20-30% profit even now if I woke up an hour late. But I nailed WLKR, and frankly, I deserve it because this is like $1 for every hour of research that I've put in there. So it's not even a good deal for me. But I love it. I love the ability to make money in the long haul and short term. No matter what the pattern is, no matter what the play is, it's all about preparation. So again, my whole life is dedicated to preparing you guys. And I know you just want me to talk stocks, but if you have the wrong mindset, me talking stocks won't help you. You need to get on the path. And again, I'm sorry that I've offended some of you in the past with my kind of like hard-nosed teaching style. I don't mean to offend you. I just really want to make you successful. And in order to do that, I think you have to be cruel to be kind. I need to mold you. I need to get you thinking properly. I need to get you guys, again, with the right mindset. So that's today's lesson. 13,000 for me. I'm going to go work out for a little bit. I'm a little excited. I'm not even in the proper mindset, again, to trade. You guys have to realize this too. It's not just about the mindset to prepare, the mindset for like this long marathon to actually make millions. When you have a big gain or when you have a big loss, you have to recognize that you are not mentally fit for trading right now. If I trade right now, why am I trading? Okay, I've already done better than I've done in any day in the past few years, really. I'm still working on just sizing up my my position sizes, but more than just the money that I've made, I've nailed 2 out of 2 stocks with my planning, with my preparation, and with my execution. So what more can I expect? Maybe, okay, you say, Tim, you're Aaron Rodgers hot, so that means, Aaron Rodgers should throw the ball more. For me in trading, when I have a big gain, I'm scared of losing the big gain, first of all, because I think of gains like in terms of days. Like today was a good day, today was a bad day, blah, blah, blah. Today is a great day. So if I'm going to trade again, there better be a great setup, because also you need to recognize your mindset when you have a big gain, and especially when you have a big loss. Some of you guys have a big loss and you look to get right back into another trade. You don't necessarily need to do that. You shouldn't do that because your mindset is off. You're revenge trading. If you have a big loss, you're like, oh, I have a big loss. I need to make money. I need to do better. So let me get back in. Nope. That's when you take time off. And the same goes true, I think, for when I have a big gain. So I'm not even looking at any other place. It's also midday too. I'll look, I'll clear my mind. I'll go for a walk. I'll go work out. I'll go have lunch with my family. I'll go enjoy life for a little bit. I'll look for some more potential trades this afternoon, but I'm not desperate for any trades. And, frankly, I should have this mindset all the time, but, we're human beings. We're not robots. So as much as I'd like to say I should never be looking for a trade, I understand. I'm also an addict. I'm looking for the action. I'm looking for profits, but I've learned to control it. When you have a big gain or a big loss, you cut your day short and you just enjoy life and you ride high with, especially with the big gain, the thrill of victory. And if you have a big loss, then you just really feel bad and you do what you have to do to never have that feeling again. You should never admit defeat to yourself. You should never just say, oh, I had a big loss, I'm done trading forever. If you have a big loss, you should look to see what you did wrong and learn to do better next time. When you have a big gain, there's literally nothing I could have done better on either of these stocks. From start to finish, the execution and the planning was perfect. So I'm going to congratulate myself on that because it doesn't happen very often where I take the full move or the meat of the move, or I have a really good trade from start to finish. So I'm going to enjoy this moment of perfection for a second and realize that it's not going to last forever. So I better enjoy this. Again, if you understand what I'm saying and you want to learn how to make 13,000 in what, 25, 30 minutes. Actually, it was 20 minutes. It was freaking awesome. Then leave the comment with the word mindset and get ready to study your ass off.